Hello and welcome to Saturday Night Crafting. Tonight we're going to have some fun. We're going to play with balloons and acrylic paint. This is going to be a great night for having a go yourself, having a go with children, having a go with people with dexterity issues. This is one for all ages and stages that you can do. We're going to create some really awesome fun backgrounds that are really quite unique and cool. And again, it's all about experimentation. So I'm going to walk you through what I did and the results I got. And then you can kind of have a play and see what you like. I'm going to use some acrylic paint as I shared there. I've got loads from the dollar store and the pound shop from Canada and England. I've got some balloons. I'm using an old IKEA plate. When my kids' plates get really worn down and icky, I keep them, and I keep them in my craft room. I've also got these balloons which are for 2 years old, which I didn't realize when I bought some balloons for my son's birthday that they actually had numbers on them. So these have been in the cupboard for quite a while, and that's what I'm going to use tonight. Now, I was just sharing with you, I found it works better if you blew up the balloon fully and then decrease the size down to what you want, rather than just blow it up to the size you want, because you get kind of a wonky shape of balloon if you don't stretch the balloon fully first. Now, all I'm doing is putting down some acrylic paint. Make sure you shake that paint up, because mine settles really easily and you get that kind of sludgy goopiness to it. So you want to shake it up really well. And I am just plopping it on top of each other. Now, this is not my idea. There's a lot of videos if you Google on Pinterest, if you just do a Google search. If you type in acrylic paint balloons or balloon art, you will see lots of different techniques, lots of different ways that you can do this kind of method. However, most of it is using pouring acrylic, and it's on canvases. Today we're working on cardstock because we're going to make some cards out of these, and we're going to make some fun, funky backgrounds. So if you have a little search, you can see all the different kinds of ways you could do various designs. Some people have even made flowers out of the balloons. Really quite cool stuff. But for card making, I'm keeping it as simple as possible because I don't have acrylic pouring paint. I also don't want to soak my cardstock and make it all soppy and runny and warped. I should say, not runny. And it's really quite fun. You can try this out on black cardstock or white cardstock. You get quite a different look between the two. Now, what I was trying to do with my acrylic paint was have a neutral color as the first color I put down, so it's kind of my base color, and then have my colorful colors on top of that. So for this instance, I have got a metallic silverish color for the base, and then I do move on to using black quite a lot as well. Black is quite a fun base to have as well. Now this one I just went with pink and blue, and then I added some orange. However, the orange is a really old paint, so it was mega monster chunky, and I ended up with a very long dry time on this one. It was really quite a textured background, but I'm going to use it because I love the bright, vibrant colors of it. The fun with the balloon, and the reason to use the balloon, is you can get lots of different kinds of patterns to it. You can get lots of circular patterns and shapes. You'll see in a minute. The more I play, the more I have fun, the more patterns I create with these balloons, and it is quite exciting and fun to do. Now, I did keep a rag to hand. I had just had a microfiber cloth, and I was cleaning up my desk as I went and wiping down my plate as well, and then just kind of going to the bathroom and rinsing it all off. So I wasn't using any paper towels or any wet wipes or anything like that. You could of course do that, but I did find that a microfiber cloth worked brilliant each time I needed to clean up, and then it wasn't wasteful on the environment as a wipe would be. So that first one was the pink and black, and then by the time I got to the very bottom of my plate, some of that blue was still left, so I got this kind of blue, and this is a metallic-y blue color, so you get this gorgeous sort of glowing shine coming through that black. The black is quite fun. It is really, it gives you just a totally different texture and look to your project. So again, you're just watching me play with various colors. This one I was trying to go for sort of a square of colors. So I wanted to have like a nice little pattern. And this time I used a full-size balloon. This is where I felt like magic happened. It was quite fun. However, I did create some weird brain scan patterns. My husband walked in and he said, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "This." And I showed him my office and it was just covered. There were prints everywhere. Every surface, every area was covered. And then he looked down at the floor and he went, "You're doing brain scans?" And these ones really do look like brain scans. It's really bizarre. But they were fun, and I did make some flower shapes out of them at the end. So you'll see I haven't got any finished cards for you, but I've got loads of started cards that just need a sentiment or something to kind of go on top, just to give you a bit of ideas and inspiration. Now this one I decided I would dab loads more times, and you get this gorgeous circular kind of effect going on. They're just really fun to work with, and I hope you're not getting bored watching me play around with paint, but I had such a good time. I wanted to share with you all the different kind of ways, and if you just stick with it and play, you can get all kinds of results. And again, if you use different size balloon, you can get all kinds of different sort of patterns. This one reminded me a lot of like a circus. Don't know what it was about it, but it gives you this gorgeous pattern on the paper. I'm saying that way too much and I apologize, but I'm really excited about this and I had a lot of fun with it. It was easy, it was simple, it gave stunning results. So here you can see lots of circles showing up from that balloon, which is really great. Now, I found that if you tapped the balloon, and especially the bigger balloon, if you just kind of tapped it and it kind of suctioned to that paper a little bit, when you brought it up, it gave a very flower-like looking pattern. You got this sort of edge to that circle that was more like petals rather than a blob. So the more you play, I can't stress that enough, the more you play, the more fun you're going to have and the more different looks you're going to get. By all means, don't use your expensive cardstock, use whatever you've got to hand. And here you can see that black. It's white on the back, but you wouldn't be able to tell that I used a white cardstock. It just covered it up really nicely and was really pretty. Now these ones were the chunkier ones, the thicker application of paint. So I did have to leave these for the weekend to dry. So I will finish off those another day and make something out of them. But they were just too thick for me to work with at the point of this video. And here's those gorgeous sort of flowery blobby ones. And I also did some directly onto some card fronts, so I could then go ahead and just make cards straight out of them. I could draw some stems and make them into flowers. So next I got started on my prep for my card bases. I ran out of time to make full cards, but I will pop them on my social media platforms, either my Facebook group or Instagram, which the links will be down below. I will have a go at finishing those off on Monday and share them with you. So here's my brain scan. I decided to use my flower shaping dies from scrapbook.com, and now I've got this gorgeous funky looking flower rather than a brain scan going on. This one here was a bunch of the circles that I'd kind of done with one of the balloons. I'd kind of squashed them down and I thought, oh, I'll cut them out of circles and give them more of a defined circular shape. And on this one I used one of those sort of edge dies as well. And look at these, they look like planets or maybe an eyeball or something, but they look so cool and they're such a unique look to them. And all it was 2 seconds of me squashing a balloon down onto some cardstock. So really lovely detailed shapes that I can use on some card making. I also used up some of my scraps to cut those shapes out as well. I didn't want any of it going to waste. These are little background dies, they're quite mini. From Pretty Gets Gritty, and I thought they made great little panels. So you get that color and that texture, and then I can go ahead and pop like a simple sentiment across them, or you could die cut inlay in them like I did with this heart one, and they're just cute little dies that you could just pop on the front of a card. Some of them I cut down panels and did full panels, maybe with a little bit of holographic behind. Some of them I did little strip panels, using up scraps or using up bits of the card, stretching that cardstock to make multiple cards. And these ones are my all-time favorite. I love doing die cut inlay, and how gorgeous are these. So there's black cardstock with my darker painted ones. Then I used some of my bright colored cardstock and stuck them inside the external part of that die cut. And then on the last one I used some holographic card as the circles on the insides. So now I've got plenty of cards to work with that I can finish off over the next week and have some beautiful cards with beautiful backgrounds. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. Bye.